Festac Town, Lagos, was known for its quiet streets and tidy homes. Among the rows of middle-class houses was the residence of Chief Martins and his beautiful wife Adaora. To outsiders, they were the picture of a successful Nigerian couple. He, a wealthy businessman with deep roots in Anambra; she, a graceful woman who turned heads at every party. They had no children, but their marriage seemed solid, until the quiet began to whisper secrets. Chief Martins traveled often for work. He trusted Adaora completely. But behind the painted smiles and perfect geli, Adaora was burning with loneliness and desire. The driver, Emeka, was a young, muscular man in his early 30s, with an easy smile and eyes that saw too much. He stayed in the boys' quarters, and Adaora's gaze lingered a little too long when he opened the car door. At first it was small talk. Adaora would ask Emeka about his village, his mother, his dreams. Then it became touches, innocent at first, then bolder. One rainy evening when Chief Martins was away in Abuja, she found herself knocking on Emeka's door in the boys' quarters. Her wrapper was tight around her waist, her eyes wide with something between fear and fire. What happened in that room changed everything. Emeka, though hesitant, gave in. 4 months after that, their affair continued in secret. Adaora would sneak out of her marital bed and into the quarters where her husband's driver touched parts of her soul long dead. But secrets, no matter how deeply buried, always rise. One Friday, Chief Martins returned early from a trip without telling anyone. He wanted to surprise Adaora. The driver wasn't expecting him, nor was Adaora. The compound was quiet, the house was locked. Chief walked around wondering where everyone was. That's when he heard soft laughter coming from the boys' quarters. He crept quietly and peered through the open window of Emeka's room. What he saw broke something inside him. Adaora, his wife of 12 years, was lying on Emeka's bare chest, giggling. Chief Martins staggered back, his heart pounding. He didn't enter. He walked back to his car, waited and planned. By evening, Chief Martins acted like nothing had happened. He smiled at dinner, cracked jokes, even gave Adaora a gift, a golden necklace from his trip. She suspected nothing. But as they lay in bed, he asked, "How's Emeka?" Adaora stiffened. "He's fine. Why?" "Good. He drives well. I'd hate to see him hurt." That night she couldn't sleep. Something in his tone chilled her. She realized her husband knew. The next morning, Emeka didn't show up. His room was empty. His things were gone. Chief Martins didn't speak of it again until a week later. He waited until they were alone in the sitting room, then calmly said, "You disgraced me. You spat on everything I gave you." Adaora begged. She cried. But he wasn't moved. "I should kill you," he said. "But no. You will live with what you've done." "Your lover? He's gone. Disappeared. Like dust." Adaora was terrified. She tried to call Emeka's number, switched off. She went to his village. He hadn't been seen. Guilt ate her. But worse was the fear that Chief Martins might be capable of more. Weeks turned to months. The house grew colder. Chief Martins no longer spoke much. He watched her always. Sometimes he locked the bedroom door from his side. Adaora felt like a prisoner. Then she started hearing things, whispers, footsteps in the night. She began to think Emeka's spirit was haunting her. One night, she heard a scraping sound beneath the floorboards in the sitting room. She dismissed it, but the next day she noticed a fresh crack on the tiled floor. Her instinct screamed. Something was buried beneath. When Chief Martins traveled again, Adaora waited until midnight. With a crowbar she found in the storage, she began prying at the cracked tile. It took her 2 hours. The smell hit her first, rotting foul. She uncovered a shallow grave. There, beneath her feet, was Emeka. His body curled in death. Hands tied. Eyes wide in horror. She screamed until her voice cracked, fell to the floor and wept. She cleaned everything. Replaced the tile. Covered the crack with a rug. When her husband returned, she kissed him. Served him his favorite pepper soup. She played her role to perfection. But inside, something in her snapped. He had killed her lover. Now she would kill him. But it wouldn't be loud or messy. It would be quiet, like a ghost. Adaora researched poisons. She bought rat poison and mixed it in small doses in his tea. Enough to weaken, not to kill. Chief Martins began coughing. Losing weight. He saw doctors. Nothing was found. She offered him soup. Medicine. Smiles. He never suspected. But the guilt of murder doesn't weigh less with good intentions. Each night, Adaora prayed for her sins. Each morning she fed him more. On a rainy Tuesday she poured the last dose into his palm wine. He drank, smiling weakly. "Thank you," he whispered, "for staying even after everything." He died in his sleep, peaceful. But the storm outside raged. She cried at the funeral. The neighbors called her a strong woman, a good wife. But then came a knock. 2 police officers. An anonymous tip had come in. They searched the house. They pulled up the tile. Found the body. Emeka. Identified by a tattoo his mother confirmed. Adaora collapsed. The whispers had returned, only now they were real. At the station she denied everything. Claimed Chief Martins killed him. They showed her the poison bottle. Her fingerprints. The receipt in her handbag. Her story cracked. She told them everything. The affair. The burial. The poison. The officers listened, stone-faced. Then they put her in cuffs. Lagos was buzzing. The newspapers called it the Festac betrayal. Court was packed. Journalists flooded the gates. Some believed her. Most didn't. The evidence was too much. She sat in the box, eyes hollow. Her family stopped coming. Her friends vanished. The judge's face never softened. Each day in court dragged her deeper into the pit. An old woman in a faded wrapper took the stand. She sobbed as she described her son's kindness. How he always sent money home. How he called every Sunday. "She killed my boy," she wailed. The courtroom was silent. Adaora could not look her in the eyes. That night in her cell, she dreamed of Emeka reaching for her from the floor. After weeks of drama, the judgment came. Guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted. Some cheered. Others cried. Adaora stood still. The judge sentenced her to life in prison. No possibility of parole. As she was led away, she didn't cry. She had run out of tears. Kirikiri prison was nothing like her former life. Gone with the silks and perfumes. She shared a cell with 5 women. Ate cold beans. Slept on a mat. Fought for space. But worse than the conditions were the nightmares. Emeka. Chief Martins. Their eyes. Their silence. She spoke to no one. Not even the chaplain. One day she received a letter. No sender. Just a note. "You were never alone. I watched you suffer. Now you suffer no more." Inside was a picture of her and Emeka, taken from outside the window. Someone had known all along. Someone had watched. But who? Months later, a man came to visit. She didn't recognize him at first, until he spoke. "Emeka was my brother." His voice was calm. "He told me everything. I warned him not to love you." He looked at her with pity. "He died for nothing. You both did." He walked away. She never saw him again. Adaora stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. She began talking to shadows. Screaming at walls. The prison doctor diagnosed her as unstable. They moved her to the psychiatric wing. There she sat by the window each day whispering his name. "Emeka, Emeka, forgive me." One rainy evening she was found lying still on the floor. Eyes wide, mouth open, whispering no more. The cause was never clear. Some say it was madness. Others heartbreak. But the prison guards say that at midnight, they still hear footsteps in her room. And the name Emeka carried on the wind. In Festac the house was sold. But no one stayed long. Some said the floor still cracked. Others that at night, laughter and cries echo from the driver's room. Please like, comment, share and hit the subscribe button.